Thanksgiving is over, and I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday with friends and family and everything. I cannot believe, I know I keep saying this, but the year's about over, and we now are going to go through November's reading challenge and look at the books I'm going to read for December. And this will be my last video where I do like at the end of the month for the challenge. For December's challenge, I'm just going to include that with the books I read from December. So this month actually for the challenge was not what I hoped it would be. We'll just get into all that. But first, question of the day. What genre do you never ever read from, but is one that you would be willing to try on the recommendation of a friend? Mine would be science fiction. I don't read sci-fi at all, hardly. I mean, I can count on one hand all the different sci-fi books I've read. Nothing appeals to me, and a lot of the science stuff just kind of goes over my head, so I don't know. I just don't like it very much. The first challenge was read a book by an author with a middle name or initial on the cover. I just finished this book a couple days ago, so my thoughts are very fresh, and I actually wrote my review like a little bit ago, that way I would have it. I chose this one, The Haunting at Bonaventure Circus by Jamie Jo Wright. This is a new to me author, and I had such high hopes for this book. Actually, if you go back and look at a previous video, you'll see how high a hope I had for this book. Let's tune in, shall we? I'm so excited. Okay, just look at the cover. Okay, look at the cover. It is creepy. This actually would have been really fantastic for Halloween. But I love that. And there's a bit of time travel in it, I think, and dual timelines, which is up my alley. Yeah, so I was excited. Honestly, I did not like it. Because I had such high hopes for this, I think I was doubly disappointed. I almost did not finish, marked it as a DNF several times throughout the book. I just could not get into it. I did not like it. And I was actually kind of worried that maybe it was just me, because so many people love this book, and I'm like, maybe I'm just getting into a reading slump or something, and it's me, not the book. But I read so many other reviews on Goodreads that were so like-minded, and I was reading them, and it's like, yes, I know, right? That was me. And I'm like, no, it wasn't just me. It was, honest to goodness, how I felt about this book, which again is a bummer. So first of all, the cover. That is what drew me in. It is so cool. I love the haunted circus thing going on, and it's just so fun. And it's the highlight of the book for me, honestly. For me, characters need to make the book. I didn't like the characters. The love interest, they were way too similar. Hank and Jake, they were way too similar in descriptions and everything. It was basically reading like the same person, kind of, and I didn't care for either one. As far as the main characters go, I didn't like Pippa's character or Chandler's. I thought Pippa, she was kind of pitiful, and like, she didn't have a voice, which was frustrating. Now, her story takes place during the 1920s, so I get that, but in the same breath, it was really frustrating. Chandler was way over the top emotional. She was paranoid, and she was just not an enjoyable character to read about. And no, I'm not a mom, so I don't know if this is weird or not, but there was, like, with Chandler and her son, like, his name was Peter, so there was a whole thing about she was his Wendy and he was her Peter Pan, and that was kind of really, it creeped me out. It was weird, and I didn't like that. It was kind of weird. Again, not a mom, so I don't know if that's not a not weird thing, but I don't know. A lot of the writing was really good, like, especially at the beginning. It was really good. However, there were a lot of phrasings and just some other stuff that didn't sit right, and it just kind of like was a turnoff, sort of. So, I mean, there were parts in there that made up for the not so awesome parts, but there were more not awesome parts than there were awesome parts. If that makes sense. I got lost a lot during the end when, like, there's the big reveal and there's explanations of who's who, and because this is a dual timeline, so it's like who's connected to who and everything. I got so lost, guys, and I had to reread it like several times, and I'm still not 100% sure how it worked out. The big reveal about the Watchmen, it did not fit for me. Like, I don't see how that worked, honestly. I feel it could have gone differently. I don't know. And this is supposed to be a Christian fiction. However, there was a whole lot more hauntings, ghosts, medium, psychic stuff than there are actual Christian elements. There's hardly any praying unless a character definitely needs help, and that's like as a last resort. No, I don't remember any open Bible or anything, or verses. I don't remember anyway. I could be wrong. There's one character, well, oh, I forgot to put this in my review too. There's two characters who are like, they're stated more as Christians, and there's a little bit more that they kind of offer in that sense. But they're still like, they're very minor. It just kind of felt like just put in there just to put in there, not really to actually like to be meaningful, I guess. So yeah, I didn't care for that. So all in all, I just did not like this book, and it's really disappointing because I had major high hopes for this. I was pumped, and it didn't work out. I didn't like it, and I am glad to know it's not just me and there are other people who didn't like it, because yeah, as of now, I don't know if I'm going to read any more by this author. There's one other book she has out new, The Lost Boys of, it's up here, I don't remember, and it looks intriguing like this did, but like I'm not sure if I'm actually going to give it a shot or not. I don't know. It pains me to say, but I gave this 1 out of 5 stars. I thought maybe 2 or even 1.5 stars. Going by Goodreads star rating, did not like is a 1 star, and I did not like this. So I guess it's a 1 star, which is sad because I really had high hopes for this. So that's a bummer. Then the second challenge was to read a book recommended to you by a friend. I read this, The House of Secrets by Chris Columbus. So this is only 10 pages short of 500, which was crazy for me. I read this early on in the month and I actually finished it within a week, which is crazy. Like, I don't read thick books like this that quickly. Like, that was insane. So that tells you that it really held my interest. First and foremost, the cover is amazingly fantastic, and this craziness, it absolutely lives up to the book. The writing is simple, very easy to follow. Chapters are very short, which I love that. It makes it so much easier just to buzz through the book. And speaking of chapters, about every chapter ended on a cliffhanger, and so even though I should have went to bed several nights, I stayed up reading longer because I had to know what happened with this cliffhanger. Characters, you know, I don't really have too big of an opinion on the siblings. They're just kind of there, honestly, and the book is much more plot driven than character driven, which for me, I like the characters over a plot. They were just kind of there and stuff happened to them, and like they wanted to get home. They went about taking the necessary steps, messing up a lot in the process, but you know, so I don't know, they were okay. They did a lot of really dumb stuff, and it's kind of irritating, honestly. The plot was insane. Like, after a while, so many things happened that nothing surprised me anymore. There's killer skeletons, which was really creepy, guys. There's pirates, there's a magical book you're not supposed to open. This book really has almost everything except unicorns. I don't think there's unicorns, but there's like giants and everything. And while it was definitely engaging and exciting, I think in a sense maybe there was a little bit too much going on because it was a whirlwind, and like I would get so far and then think, okay, what led the kids up to this point? And for the life of me, I couldn't remember what had happened last, or like even last from that, because it was just so much like jam-packed into this. So while it was exciting, maybe there was too much going on and it made it too busy. There was so much going on, and then you had the ending, and the ending just kind of happened, and I don't think it was very satisfying. The main message that I took to heart from this book is to never stab a Viking with a fork. I think that's very important. Caused a lot of chaos. There wasn't much romance, maybe like a kiss or two, honestly. Just some crushes, you know, kid crushes. A lot of action, violence. Actually, there's some, I'm thinking about it now as I say this, but there's actually some graphic violence in here. There's scenes of torture, injuries like stabbing a Viking with a fork. I think there's like bullet wounds. Yeah, there's a lot. And there are some scenes where there's something about the attic in this house that brings dead people back to life. I don't know, don't ask me. And so when they come back to life, they don't have any clothes on. So those scenes were all kept clean, but there were instances of that, and the kids were up there talking to them, and yeah, and it's like, So my overall rating, I gave this solid 3 stars. While it was exciting and definitely an epic adventure, there was so much. It did keep my interest. I did finish it very quickly. I could not put it down. I don't know if I'm going to continue the series right now. I mean, because it ended perfectly for the sequel. Like, there's a whole nother adventure waiting, but I don't know if I'm going to continue it or not. I don't know if this is actually a series for me, but it was definitely a wild ride. Those were my book challenges for November, both from the library, as you can tell. One was not horrible, it was pretty good, and one I did not like at all. So that's where we are. A book where the hero or heroine has a Christmas-inspired name, such as Nick, Carol, Holly, etc. I actually kind of struggled finding a book because it's not just like, oh, snowflakes on the cover, or, you know, written by such and such person. You have to actually kind of know the book a little bit to do it, and so I was scrolling through my Goodreads list and like just reading the synopsis hoping for a name, and I came across this one, Dachshund Through the Snow by Rosie A. Point. And I looked at that and I was like, you know, that name sounds so familiar. So I looked at her other books, and she also wrote A Slice of Murder, which I read back in March for the reading challenges before I was filming them. And that book, I liked it pretty well. It had some issues, but overall it was fun, and it was a cozy mystery, and there's pizza. So, I mean, it was fun. I figure I'll give this one a go. It's a Christmas murder mystery, and it looks fun. And our second challenge, which just so happens to be the very last one of the year, is to read a Christmas book. That's it. No stipulations, no nothing, just a Christmas book. Do you guys know how many options that leaves me with? Like, there's so many books I want to read, and yeah. So out of all the books I could read, there's one that I have wanted to read for a very long time. I started reading it a few days ago because before I went through the challenge, and I was like, oh, I could just read that. And that is Christmas Carol Society by Rebecca Jones. New to me author, but I'm intrigued, and I love the Christmas Carol. It's a staple, a Christmas staple actually. So I'm excited to see how this works out. So that is the challenge for November, December. It's been crazy. I have actually read a lot more books than I thought I was going to read for November, and the month isn't even quite up yet. So I still have a couple days to squeeze in some more. You never know. So it's been fun. Disappointed about the Circus one. But what can you do? That's life, and not every book is going to be a great fit for everybody. And those are just my opinions. Don't let me drive you away from trying a book because, again, that's just my opinion. So, I mean, you could love it, and a lot of people do love it. So, it's just not for me. They're doing lots of construction around the apartment. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this up, and I will see you again December 1st, which I'll go into all of my reads for November and my TBR for December, and I've got some plans, and we're going to have lots of fun as always. So thank you so much for hanging out and just watching, taking the time to watch this. I really do appreciate you, and until next time, happy reading!